It is Ask the Mayor on 2 Wants to Know. So Greensboro Mayor Nancy Vaughan is here today talking about all things Greensboro related. She's taking your questions as well, and you can text those questions in right now to the number that's on your screen. That's 336-379-5775. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to start right now with a big topic making news headlines over the last couple weeks here in Greensboro. City Manager Taiwo Jayoba, he and his family involved in a domestic incident at their home back in December. On Monday, the police body camera video related to the incident was released for the city council to watch. So Mayor, you have now seen the body cam video.
I have.
And so people at home are going to want to know, what did you see and how do you think this impacts his job?
So as of this afternoon, I believe all city council members had an opportunity to watch most of the video footage. There was an awful lot of it. My impression is that this was a family in distress. There was only one person with an apparent injury, and that was the city manager. There were a number of police officers there who interviewed the city manager and his daughters. The next day, a senior detective came back and interviewed them individually. GPD did consult with the DA, and they felt that no charges should be brought because there was really no telling who the victim was in this case. The city manager did talk to the police chief, and the police chief did speak to one of the officers, but it certainly didn't appear to have any influence on how that was investigated because there were an awful lot of GPD interaction with the members of the family and the investigation. So I feel that it's kind of time to move on.
And you don't feel that this impacts his job, his ability to do his job?
I do not, no. I think the city manager has done a good job. Unfortunately, families, especially around the holidays, that sometimes things occur, and unfortunately, I think that some people weaponize a domestic violence call.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to continue to follow this story, of course, and we will be talking to other city council and things of that nature as well. All right, let's move on because we had a really big announcement last week, and that was with the ACC.
We did. Yes.
Greensboro going to be playing host to several conference tournaments in the future, and while that brings us back to Tourneytown, it also brings us back to economics, right?
Yes, yes.
And making our city the center of a lot of that.
Absolutely. We were very happy. I think we got 15 out of 30 or 35 announcements. We've gotten 2 men's basketball, 2 women's basketball, a whole bunch of swimming and diving, women's golf. Let's see what else. But those are the highlights.
What does this mean for the city to have these kinds of announcements?
You know, I think it shows that we still have a good relationship with the ACC, and that they know that Greensboro knows how to put on a great tournament. You know, we always say fans first, and I think it's fans, athletes, coaches, and I believe that they feel it, that when a tournament is in the city of Greensboro, it is all about the people who are in our city. And not only ACC, but we have an incredible number of youth sports coming in, and people always feel welcome and that they are our priority.
Okay. All right. So with these kinds of things happening, this is just, you know, one of the many things that are happening in Greensboro because we have a job boom as well.
We do. Yes.
So now we're talking about a housing boom, and this is something that we've really needed to see is housing growth and development.
You know, our permits are at an all-time high, both for residential and commercial. It's taking a little while for them to come out of the ground. You know, I believe that some developers are holding back a little bit because they want to see interest rates go down, but we have such an interest in the city of Greensboro and Guilford County. We know that there is a housing shortage. There is a housing shortage across the country, but people know that Greensboro is the place to be, and they're willing to dig in and put some houses in.
And I love the idea that we're creating more homes,
yes,
apartments, things of that nature. I also hope that they will be affordable homes and apartments.
So, you know, I talk about attainable housing. Yes, there needs to be affordable, there needs to be for low-income people and our workforce, but we are having issues at all levels of the economic spectrum. So we also need to have attainable housing, and those are for people who make a larger wage, but we need to have more inventory in our city.
And along with that, we've talked about this several times about the those who are dealing with homelessness.
Yes.
And what we are doing for them and what the plans are, because that is the first question that we're getting from folks at home. What is the city doing about the homelessness issues?
So we are working with developers. The city doesn't build anything, but we do subsidize and we do give housing grants for developers who want to put in low-income housing. We are also looking at housing as economic development, and we want to do some things differently. We may encourage developers in market rate units to put some aside for affordable. I think it's always good when you see that income mix. The Doorway Project, which are the pallet shelters, they have been very successful. I think you'll see us put more of those up, but those are just a stopgap. That is getting people off the street until we can get a unit for them to move into. We've called it a Band-Aid approach, and it is, but it's something that is needed. We're still working with our housing partners, the Continuum of Care and Guilford County and the City of High Point, to see what we can do to get people off the street. We had a difficult council meeting about one of our marquee projects that we've had some difficulty getting off the ground, which is the Regency Inn. But I believe that we will be able to make that happen.
Okay, and we're going to continue to follow that as well.
Yes.
All right, of course, my phone is flooded with questions about leaf pickup, so we're going to be
Yes.
talking about that. That is the topic of conversation when we come back after this break.